I think in terms of my lifespan, obviously, a lot has changed, but it may not have been stuff that I was aware of that needed, you know, because I was maybe too young to fully appreciate it, etc. I mean, in Scotland, gay sex between men was legalised since I was born. I find that fact amazing. I mean, it's like 1983, I think. You know, and that's well behind the rest of the UK. But having said that, I think Scotland also was ahead in some areas. Some of the stuff that went on in Scotland happened before. For instance, this is the repeal of Section 28. I think the largest changes in my lifetime have been to do with social attitudes and the acceptability of being LGBT. T less so, unfortunately. Trans people still get a hell of a lot of grief, more so than maybe LGBT people in some areas. But I think that in some ways social attitudes always lag behind legislation in some ways. I think sometimes legislation, when the argument is for equality, when the argument is for an identified inequality in society, I think it takes that legislative change to normalise or to make it acceptable in the eyes of the general public. And then from there, they grow to be more accepting. It becomes more seen and noticed in society and more accepted. The other thing, obviously, is well, the legislation I can think of at the moment is obviously a civil partnership legislation, which hopefully will soon be full gay marriage. Which, I mean, I don't know how they justified that to begin with, to be honest. I think we established in the civil rights movement and with the race struggles that really separate but equal is not equal. That's the whole point of it. And unless you're free to use the terminology you want for your relationship and have it recognised as such in the eyes of the law, it is a kind of feeling of being second class, not quite the same. Even if it might give you the same rights under the law, you don't get treated as if it was the same. Yeah. And the other thing is the goods and services legislation that came in. I think that was 2007. And that made it so you could no longer be, say, thrown out of a pub or a bar or a shop if someone realised that you were gay. And that's been tested. I mean, I remember the Peter and Hazel Mary Bull case of they owned a B&B down, I think, might have been in Cornwall, I think, south somewhere. And they were successfully sued under the Act. And they had to pay costs. I think they're taking that to the High Court though, so it's still going on. They basically said that they ran a Christian guest house, and basically they would only rent a double room to a married couple. They said the issue wasn't the fact that they were gay, it was because they were not married. And since you can't be legally married if you're gay, they thought that was an acceptable way of discriminating. But obviously the law doesn't support that. But they're still taking it further.